COPD support group, part of their pulmonary rehab, and it has really been marvelous. So if you've not looked into the use of harmonicas as far as a pulmonary rehab tool, it's phenomenal. If you'd like to know more about it, see me. But our program is called Harmonicas for Health. And so we met the first time about 6 weeks ago, and none of my class, I was expecting about 8 people for that class, and we had 24 show up. And one of those individuals has just an incredible story. And I would love for you right now to please welcome Ruth Hendricks.
Hi, thank you all for coming today and listening. I'm Ruth, and I want to welcome you here today and invite you on my life's journey, which I would describe as, well, let's say over the top. I was married and raising my children while being a contributing writer for several San Francisco Bay Area newspapers. I was involved in entertaining audiences at local theaters. I did a lot of charity work. I was also in the Navy. And I was coach and team mom for my kids' various sports. And I was superwoman, and life was sweet. But then in March of 1992, my life changed as I had known it. It ended, which I was fighting a fire aboard my ship, and our breathing equipment failed, which caused quite a bit of smoke inhalation and chemical damage and et cetera. And following that devastating incident, I was hospitalized numerous times, 78, but who's counting? And I am 100% disabled Navy veteran. I was given many medications, including from 120 to 160 milligrams of prednisone a day, including IV Solumedrol while in the hospital on top of that. And I was not told the side effects like sleep deprivation, and I was just sent to a psychiatrist who added more meds and kind of told me I had PTSD and, excuse me, the high dose of steroids and the sleep deprivation and the psych meds made it very difficult for me. I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years. I missed the last year of my youngest son being at home before he left for college. And consequently, in a nutshell, I was totally out of it. I was in the hospital constantly, and I had no life. So they kept telling me I was going to die, and I made a very difficult decision. This wasn't the life that I wanted. And I guess the final straw for me was the day that they delivered the electric wheelchair to my house. So it was time for a tough decision. And I knew what had to be done. But without seeing clearly, because of all the medications, I decided that I would end my life. And I swallowed 5,400 milligrams of morphine and went to bed in hope of a peaceful passing. My husband returned home. He figured out what I had done. He pumped me full of charcoal. He took me to a hospital where they saved my life. And then I was put into a psychiatric hospital for the mandatory 72-hour hold. While I was in that hospital, the doctor pointed out after 3 days that they had detoxed me off of all of those medications, so I didn't have to go through withdrawals, and that I could walk just fine. and then I was happy. And it dawned on me, and he said, you never have to go back to that life again. So I wouldn't recommend that as a course of action for anyone else, but it did give me back my hope, and it gave me another chance at having a life. And since I was detoxed, thank goodness I didn't have to go through withdrawals. That date was December 11th, 2003, and that was the first day of the rest of my life. And I started working to build back my wonderful life. And since that day, for the past 13 years, I've been educating myself, searching for answers and ways to improve my breathing and living life to the fullest. I did research, collecting any and all available comprehensive pertinent information, searching for protocols that could slow or better yet halt the progression of COPD, recognizing the triggers that cause flare-ups of various types such as bronchitis, asthma, perfume, etc., and understanding what they are and what happens during the flare-up and how to get it under control so I didn't have to have another hospitalization. And with all diseases, diet is very important. And there are a lot of foods that build up CO2 in your body, but the websites are all conflicting. One says you need to eat this and avoid this, and one says you need to eat this and avoid that. So I don't have any really good dietary information, but I'm still looking for that. Understanding how diet affects the disease, I think, is a major component to controlling the disease, and what foods cause inflammation and carbon buildup. I was fortunate to locate a Dr. Noel Rose at Johns Hopkins. I've never met the man, but for some reason, he's willing to take my phone calls and he talks to me whenever I call. And he's been very helpful in providing information and different available options that I had not known about. One of the things that he told me was that I didn't have to take my breathing treatment all at once. I could take half of it, and then 2 hours later take the other half of it, the nebulizer treatments, so that I didn't shake apart and throw things across the room unintentionally, and spill stuff all the time, and trip, and, I have a shirt now that says I don't trip, I do random gravity checks. After moving to Tennessee, I got a pulmonary doctor, and he introduced me to pulmonary rehab, which I'm going to at St. Thomas Rutherford. And all I can say about the people there is that I love them, and that they have made my life a better place in a very short period of time. They have brought me great joy, and that's the people that work there. And the other patients and the camaraderie there has been a godsend. I've learned to strengthen my muscles. I've learned that I can exercise, and I can do a lot more things than I thought I could do, as long as I pay attention to my breathing. And now I can make the bed again, unfortunately. Catch my breath. In pulmonary rehab, I was also offered an opportunity to join a class and learn to play the harmonica. And this is a new program that's come about. Yesterday we met with Chris Jansen, who's involved in the program, it's been really wonderful. And it's been the whole thing has just been the socialization part of it. When you have a chronic illness, it gives people a reason to write you off. and it gets really, really lonely. And through pulmonary therapy and the harmonica classes, I don't feel lonely anymore. And the music has lifted my spirits greatly. Although I've had 78 hospitalizations since 1992, I have not had one in the last 10 years. In closing, I would like to paraphrase a quote from Helen Keller. I long to do great and noble things, but I can't. So I do small things as if they were great and noble. Thank you, everyone.